It is Friday night, and you all know what that means. It is time for Formula Fridays, and we are here at Baku City Circuit for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm your host here, Fallen Monkeys, joined once again back in the commentator's booth by ISRL Esports. Esports, how you doing today?
I'm looking forward to this weekend, and honestly, Baku.
Yep, I'm excited too. Formula Fridays, as it always is, it's a great kickoff to give us an idea of how the weekend's gonna go. We've got drivers here from just about every tier at the here in Formula Fridays, so it'll be a nice little dictator of pace. It'll be a nice dictator of what we can expect to see come Sunday. Now, we've already had Division 4 take the track, and my oh my, that was a bit of a hectic race as well. So we'll see if Formula Fridays is going to keep that up as we're jumping here with, looks as though it's given us Izat Kush to ride on board here for the start of qualifying, the one-shot qualifying, and I'll jump on board with the, what is now a pink car this week. It looks to be a just about a fully pink car for Izat Kush. Ooh,
Oh!
bit of a tank slapper out of turn 2. Something you can definitely come to expect here around the Baku City circuit, even from my own experience with practice. And lockups, and also got to watch out for walls, if I'm being completely honest. Not much room to run off if you make a mistake, so gonna have to be perfect and gonna have to be consistently perfect here, but it's looking as though Sweetcar 19 is leading the way here by the end of Sector 1 as far as the timing tables are concerned, and crucially Dark having a pretty strong lap here so far, but Izat Kush, I wish I could say the same, but has a little bit of a Charles Leclerc moment, so to say, into the castle section, and definitely gets knocked down the order there.
Opposite of nice.
Yeah, so I'll jump over to, honestly, as much as I want to stick with Izat, I'll jump over to the man himself, Sweetcar 19, as he's rocking that black and white livery-looking car coming around the final corner, so we can at least get that on board as he's finishing up the lap. And already 4 drivers out of this one-shot qualifying session. Now, whether it's due to DNFs or whether it's due to just invalidating track limits, I'm not too sure. But I wouldn't put it past potential DNFs, as it is Sweetcar 19 who will be starting from pole on race 1, the 25% race, with Josh 2 starting on the front row of the grid right alongside him, and a nice little qualifying from ISRL Knight, rounding out the top 3 in the qualifying order, as I saw there.
Yep. Sweetcar still got the pace. Look at Josh right up there as well, so
yeah, Josh,
guys are showing out.
Oh yeah, definitely showing up, and between Sweetcar 19 and Josh, 3/100ths of a second separating the 2 drivers on their time. But I'd like to see what Dark can do, as I think he did get invalidated right at the end of the session, but I'm pretty sure he was right up there with the rest of them. But the order is going to be Sweetcar 19 from Josh 2, from Knight, from Azen, Doomsday rounding out the top 5 with Hartman, Izat Kush, Carter, and Dark, and Captain Blade rounding out the top 10. Mushroom, Lewis, and Rotation will be starting 11th through 13th for this 25% race that we are just about ready to jump into in just a few moments. Now,
what can you expect down there in turn 1 there?
Honestly, I'm expecting the unexpected. Because the safe side of me wants to say I expect a clean race. I'd like to see all the drivers make it through. But this is Baku we're talking about. This is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So I'm half expecting calamity going into turn 1. And if I'm being honest, even more so on the exit of turn 2, which we saw with Izat Kush. I know in my own practice I was fallen victim of that as well, and I would not be surprised to see drivers maybe losing the back end, trying to get the acceleration pedal down as quick as they possibly can, and maybe causing a few incidents in the process, potentially losing the back end of the car, running into another driver. But I guess all these answers are going to be answered soon enough, as we're up to 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. And we're off, finally, to start off the race 1, 13 laps around the Baku City circuit. And it is going to be Sweetcrown and Josh 2 going side by side through turn 1. But so, oh no, who's that in the background having a moment? I think that might have been Hartman or Lewis having struggling there. But we've got lots of side-by-side battles here after the front 2. Looks as though that's Doomsray with Izak Kush going side by side here. Izak Kush finally getting the move done as they're coming down into this hard braking zone. Oh no! God. That was Doomsray completely missing his braking point as he falls down the order here early on. And oh, who was that there? That's Captain Blade having a moment just 1 corner later. So already here in the early stages, Baku showing teeth. But it is still Sweetcrown 19 leading the way from Josh 2 and Knight. The top 3 have not changed. And for Izat Kush, already up into 4th after what has only been half a lap here in this race. And I think that looked to be Carter having, I'm not too sure if that was a legitimate moment. It looks as though his car is kind of jumping around here as far as the stream is concerned. But it almost looked as though he had a little bit of trouble going up the castle section.
Oh, Doomsray backs out of it.
Oh.
Step aside for a second.
Yep, that's quite all right. As we saw on your screen, Lewis making an overtake on Doomsray, but looks as though Doomsray as well maybe bouncing around there, or potential, maybe it's Lewis as well. I've noticed Carter's been in and out of the session, so potential connection issues here on this Friday night. But back here to the action, we have Izat Kush and Rotation going side by side. Where have we seen that before? Tune in on Sunday and we might see it again, if I'm being completely honest. But it is going to be advantage to Rotation here for this, at least here around this lap, as he does move up into 4th, as they're all just trying to chase down the top 3 of Sweetcrown, Josh, and Knight. And already here at the end of lap 1, we've got 3 drivers, Captain Blade, Doomsray, and Hartman, taking pit stops, most likely having to fix their front wings, as I believe they might not have had the first lap to remember. Now, unfortunately, my gaps have kind of disappeared on me, but it looks as though after the top 5, we've got a little bit of a gap between 5th and 6th. But here in 6th and 7th, we do have the next little bit of a battle of Mushroom, Azen, and it looks as though Lewis also wants to get involved into this as well. But gonna have to pick his times here, other than this very long back straight that we're going to be seeing these top 4, top 5 drivers getting here soon enough. Not too many overtaking opportunities here, unless you're looking to get really daring here at this Baku City circuit. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Go a little wide there. It's going to allow Lewis to get right alongside him.
Yep, seeing that there on your stream, and oh my, I think Azen trying to get back onto the racing line. I think the angle made it look worse than it was, and it almost looked as though Azen was about to run right into Lewis, but definitely not much of an issue. But Azen diving into the pits here on lap 2, so I think he might have fallen victim potentially of some wing damage on lap 2, and gonna have to get that changed he himself. And get that fresh set of tires, get that front wing on. Now, Rotation was able to overtake Knight somewhere along the way whilst all of that was happening. It's crucially now putting a whole bunch of pressure on Josh 2 for that P2. And honestly, Rotation looks to be fairly comfortable here, at least around this circuit in these early stages, setting a lot of purple sector 1s, the fastest sector times. So showing a lot of pace, but we'll see if he can get the overtakes done and maybe push for a victory here in these in this race 1 of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Yeah, he was discussing earlier, he was setting some pretty credible lap times here, so he's got the pace, so a little bit of a taste of what you might see Sunday afternoon too, so Look at these guys. They're so close as well because rotation's pushing Josh. Josh is trying to push also to get Sweet Crown. And Knight's just hanging along for the ride.
Oh yeah, and especially now with the DRS open, so as long as we know Sweet Crown, Josh, and Rotation all have similar pace, at least from what we've seen so far this season, not to take anything away from Knight, but the pace compared to those top three might not be quite there as much as, oh my, we've got a nice little battle here brewing between the top three. Looks as though it is going to be Rotation getting that overtake done, up into second now here to start lap 4. But I was just about to say, if Knight can stay within DRS range, he can set himself up for a pretty solid finish here in this race 1, with a P4, and depending on if he can hold, well, minimally P5, barring any incidents, but maybe even a P4, or even a podium if he's able to plan that move at the right time and keep up the pace and keep close enough. But I did see, it looked as though there was a driver that might have had a bit of an issue earlier. Was that, let's take a look. I'm seeing Mushroom having a little bit of end plate damage. I thought there might have been some contact with the wall there, but maybe I got a little bit, or it could have been the minimap just playing games with me, if I'm being completely honest. But still, those end plates, the wing damage, I'll be honest, gonna have to be a talking factor here, because as I've stood by for the entirety of the week so far, as Josh 2 goes ahead and proves, it's not really, there is a battle between yourself and the other drivers, if I'm being honest. It is still a race after all, but for the most part, it's a bit of a war of attrition of yourself against the walls here at Baku City Circuit. Because if you just...
Knight with a run here.
Yeah, keeping it clean and looking to get an overtake done, going side by side, and there we go. Josh 2 taking a pit stop here on lap 5, and maybe looking for a wing change. But now Knight and Izat Kush going side by side around turn 1. It is still going to be Knight holding on to that position, but we'll see now as Izat Kush is going to have some DRS to work with down this second long straight. Will he try to make a move around the inside? Looks as though this is going to be the case. Does he get it done? Yes, he does get it done, but Knight trying to switch back, but just doesn't quite have enough traction and enough room in order to make that work to the full execution. So is still slotted back into 4th after being temporarily up into a podium position. But showing a decent amount of pace here is Knight around the Baku City Circuit. So maybe a bit of a sleeper driver to keep an eye out for on Sunday if this pace can be carried over through into the weekend.
Yeah. And I just want to touch on your previous point. Yeah, the track. You're racing the track just as much as you are the guys around you. Because the track, unlike Monaco, where you're obviously closed off in Singapore, this is open. And you just carry so much speed everywhere. It's so easy to just get caught out with just that slight bit of wing damage. And because these corners are so tight and technical, you're ruining your race. Multiple times a race, even.
Oh yeah, especially. And it's something that we saw, well, we saw here today. I'll say time and time again, but we saw in lap 1 3 pit stops. Lap 2 was another pit stop or 2. And it looks as though we might have seen at least a pit stop for a wing change just about every lap thus far. But I do think now the pit stops we're seeing are the front runners putting on their set of medium tires just for their standard their standard tire change, as you do need to put on 2 different sets of tires for a 25% race. So I don't think they're going to be lounging around the pits longer than they have to. But still, it is something to, what were you going to say?
I don't know if this is going to work for rotation.
Oh no!
What's going on?
Sorry, I was riding on board with Dark, and coming through what was turn 2, it looked as though, I'm not too sure if Mushroom was going slow or if Dark took the turn a little bit too fast. There was a little bit of contact there, unsettled Mushroom's car, but thankfully, Mushroom with a solid save, if I'm being completely honest, able to keep that car out of the wall on the exit of turn 2, and still in the process able to hold on to that P7.
Yeah, I wonder if the overcut for rotation's got to get him by Sweetground. So Sweetground's going to have to be pushing those mediums just to make sure. But looking at the timing, it looks like Sweetground's actually gaining. So rotation might be losing a lot of time here.
Yeah, but I
Yep, he
mean, it
is.
is okay, because I was going to say, it looks as though Sweet Crown is gaining more or less on Lewis, but rotation is seems to be either holding on or building a ever so slightly bigger gap on Lewis. So maybe they're at similar pace, but we'll find out as rotation just dives into the pits here to start lap 7. And we'll see if he can come out ahead of the man on your screen right now, Sweet Crown 19, as he's barreling down the start-finish straight. And it looks as though it's going to be close. What'd you see?
I don't know if it was a glitch or like Lewis's car just got slammed and all sorts of messed around. I don't know. It had to be a glitch because he's pitting. So.
Oh my, oh my. Excuse me for all of this, but we have Sweet Crown 19 and Rotation coming out quite literally side by side as Rotation was coming out of the pits. A nice little bit of a switchback move from Sweet Crown 19 through turn 2 meant once again they went side by side, but it is Sweet Crown by the end of it as they're approaching the end of Sector 1 now, who is going to be taking that lead right back. But he did have to fight for it, potentially a little bit more than he was thinking. So I'm not too sure. I believe Rotation, the overcut, did still work for him as he's up into second and able to keep up. But I don't think it might have only worked just as, like I said, the two drivers did really have to battle as Rotation came out of the pits. So I think it more goes to show the amount of pace that Rotation has around this circuit compared to some of these other drivers. I think, as you were saying, Rotation feeling confident, and it is showing here with this first race in Formula Fridays. That confidence is showing with that pace and how he's able to just keep up, close up to the likes of Sweet Crown 19. And funny enough, I think they're both building a gap to the other drivers behind that maybe aren't falling off a little bit more of pace.
He can catch him, but he just can't get by him. And he dealt with that right before they cycled through those pit stops.
Okay, so maybe it was a little bit about a similar pace then, if that was the case. I did get a little bit distracted with some other battles, so I didn't quite get to see what was going on, but here we go. Now coming down, he's going to try the inside of turn 3. Takes it tight, but has to lock up in the process, which allows Sweet Crown 19 to take that better line. And another lock up into the next corner there of turn 4 to avoid hitting the wall means that Sweet Crown can extend that gap ever so slightly and allowed Izat Kush to close right back up. Excuse me, and maybe push for an overtake himself.
When Rotation made the contact, he made sure to he pulled over and oh no! And he's bottled it in the castle.
Oh no, but crucially, look who, oh my goodness, with almost like twins on the track on the exit of the castle section was Knight and Izat Kush, as both taking a spin very similar to one another, but it looked as though just with the positioning of the car, Izat Kush got off a little bit better than Knight did. But that was a little bit, it was interesting to see, I thought, just seeing both those cars spin almost like, almost, I'm losing track of my words.
Spinning.
Yeah, the synchronized ballerinas, I guess I'll say. But not something you see every day here, but, you see something new constantly here at ISRL, here on Formula Fridays. But, come for the racing, stay for the show, I guess.
Rotation doesn't have any front end plates, but he stays out.
Yeah, I guess looking to stick through it here for the next few laps. I think maybe knowing that if he takes a pit stop, he is going to fall down the order. And if he feels comfortable with the gaps and the pace, you do get more points here in race 1 than you would in race 2. So potentially just looking at damage control, keeping where he is. without rather than falling down the order and looking to get that front row of the grid start for race 2. But
let's play a game called Who Doesn't Have Wing Damage? There's a bunch of guys out here with wing damage. If you go down the order and just take a look, I think that's Hartman with wing damage. Carter, I think, had wing damage.
Oh no, now rotation is definitely going to have to pit, as one lap later, it seems as though he does the exact same thing he did one lap before, right into the castle section. And I wouldn't be surprised to see rotation take a pit stop and
he's hit the wall
bumps
again.
into the wall, has a front wing on his car for good measure.
Oh,
so,
this is going to hurt.
Yep, and there we go. That is the end of rotation's first race. So might be kicking himself for staying out that extra lap. And crucially, because of that DNF, won't get the benefit of starting from the front from the front of the grid for race 2, as you do need to finish the race to actually benefit from the from that better start. But I'm looking here.
Pretty sure started at the back in this one too.
Yeah, well, did he? Well, here, let's take a look. If I put on a little bit of a detail, rotation, yeah, it looks as though he did start from the back, just given the position change. So I don't think that's going to phase him all that much in race 2. But, I mean, of course, race 2 is only a 5-lap sprint rather than a 25% race, so not nearly as much time to close up to the grid as you would here on race 1. But here on the track, we've got some battles continuing on. Izat Kush and Josh 2 still battling it out amongst each other. Now, going down the start-finish straight, Izat Kush was kind of weaving around left and right, thinking which side he wanted to make the overtake done. Maybe try to instill a little bit of fear into Josh 2, really showing in his mirrors this pink beast of a car that's barreling down, trying to get the overtake done. But it doesn't look like that's phased Josh 2 all that much, as he's still holding on to that second and still doing a good job of keeping Sweetcrown 19 behind, or not Sweetcrown 19, keeping Izat Kush behind him here on lap 10. But we'll see, with the help of DRS, if Izat Kush wants to get that move done by the end of this lap.
This is just allowed Sweetcrown to just scamper off into the distance.
Yeah, he's just kind of ran away, wandered off, created that 6.5 second gap, and honestly, barring any mistakes, I don't think anybody's going to catch him. But once again, some more weaving. Oh my goodness. They touch wheels a little bit. Izat Kush really extending those track limits as much as possible to try to get that overtake done. Even though realistically, realistically though, he had the entire inside part of the circuit to get that overtake done, but no, really wanted to go around the outside, maybe trying to give a bit of a show for everybody watching at home of what kind of overtakes he can do here on Formula Fridays. But it doesn't look like it worked out for him, as he still has that, let's see, what is it, the dark blue vehicle of Josh 2 ahead of him and not in his mirrors.
Yeah, we'll see here. They still got, I guess you could say 3, because 3 laps, or 2.5, we'll say that.
Yeah, at this point,
not actually extending his lead all that much. It's kind of stayed the same, but with these two guys going at it, and now Lewis is all over the back of Knight.
Yeah, notice that with the gaps. So, I mean, just to give everybody a little bit of something else to watch here on the stream for the time being, I've been watching that battle between Josh and Izat. Let's take a look. Can Lewis get an overtake done on Knight? Knight has had a good race all throughout, all things considered, other than that one spin. But now being pressured by Lewis, and we'll see if Knight can hold on to this P4 or if he's going to fall down to P5. But we might see some position changes, a little bit of a back and forth from lap to lap. And this is where, similar to maybe, well, I wouldn't say similar to what you would see in NASCAR, but as Lewis is trying to go down the inside, this is where the chess match comes into play if you know you can keep up with the driver ahead. Because a lot of times, some drivers might want to not be in the lead, coming down that back straight on the final lap. They might want to be in second so they can get that DRS and get that slingshot done and the move done before the line, which I'll be honest is well at the end of the of that straight. With oh my goodness, Lewis and Knight going side by side there here for a little bit, but it is going to be Lewis still holding on to that P4. But I'm thinking maybe that's Izat Kush's plan, to stick behind Josh 2 for as long as possible, and then put on the afterburners, put on the jets here on the last lap, or the back straight of the last lap, and get that overtake done really when it counts, and cross the line ahead without even giving the other driver a chance to get an overtake done back.
Staying patient. Yeah, he tried to look down the inside of the last lap while Lewis is getting moved on Knight, but still couldn't get it done down into 1, so... Oh, and he's taking a penalty. Oh, well...
Yeah, so that's not gonna...
That's pretty much dampened that one.
Yeah, so that definitely puts a nail into that strategy. Now, oh no! Oh, is Lewis okay? Yes, okay, Lewis is okay. I'm loving these visual moments here on the stream, as I thought Lewis was just about ready to hit the wall. And there we go. Izat Kush does get the move done on Josh 2, but only for about half a second, as he goes deep, and Josh takes that position right back from Izat Kush. But I'm trying to figure out what happened to Knight in the process, as he was right up along the back of Lewis, but now out of nowhere fell 9 seconds behind. Oh no, I think I might know what happened. I'm seeing a lot of wing damage on that Formula 1 gold and black car from ISRL Knight, and being pressured from the likes of Dark as well, as Dark gets the overtake done with a lot of ease, and Knight doesn't look like he tried defending all that hard on that move. So I think maybe another blunder from Knight here in these ending stages, and falling down the order now, and that extra wing damage definitely won't help his case either.
It looks like it's going to say, well, even with penalties, whoops, Izat just took another 6. Another 3, so he's up to 6, and oh my goodness. He's banking on that P3.
Yep, I think he's really hoping for it, just doing all he can to stick with it. Not gonna get P2, as the move wasn't...
he hit it off the wall.
Nope. Who did?
Izat, he sent it deep into that, coming down the back straight there, going into the final
corner, but
Sector 3.
Crucially, still able to keep it in one piece, as it is Sweetcrown 19 who takes the victory of the first race. Josh 2 crosses in second, and Izat Kush in third, although it is a bit of a distant third with the penalties, but I think he is going to be safe, as Lewis in that rainbow car crosses the line, gets P4, and a little bit behind him is going to be that the yellow and green Formula 1 car of ISRL Dark, who rounds out the top 5. And Knight, through all the moments there, had a solid race, but only a P6 for the driver through all of that, as some costly mistakes at the end did hinder him a little bit. And Azen moving up to 7th, as Mushroom falls down to 8th with penalties, but only by 1/10 of a second did Azen get that overtake done. So it does go to show how painful those penalties on track can be. As had he taken maybe one less, or had just that extra tiny little bit of pace, may have been able to hold on to that P7. But we're just awaiting here on the final few drivers to cross the line. We've got Carter here, or I guess I could say the ghost of Carter, as I've noticed he's had connection issues through the entirety of this first race. But his car does cross the line, gets a P10 out of it, and it's just awaiting Hartman, who didn't necessarily have that first race he was hoping for. And I think I did see some end plate damage on that car as well. Crosses the line in 11th, but for Hartman, there is a little bit of a consolation, as he is going to be starting from pole for race 2, as he is the last of the finishing drivers for race 1. But there we go. That is the end of the race. That is race 1 here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix Baku City Circuit. As we're going to see the podium in just a moment. And we will most definitely see that Michael Schumacher face on the podium there. We've got 2 Michael Schumachers in there, actually. The man lifting the trophy, and the man in second place as well. The Michael Schumacher twins on the podium, as they're so used to being, both flying the I think they're both flying the German flag, if I'm being honest, as well. But there we go. Congratulations to the podium of the first race. But everyone watching at home, don't go anywhere. We've got a second race coming in just a few moments. But for race 1, it is Sweet Crown 19 who takes the victory from pole, with Josh 2 in second and Izat Kush rounding out the top 3. It is going to be Lewis in 4th, Dark in 5th, Knight in 6th, Azen in 7th, Mushroom in 8th, Doomsray in 9th, and Carter rounding out the top 10 with Hartman in 11th, and Rotation and Captain Blade, the 2 drivers who did not finish, who did crash out earlier on in this session, but should still be good to go to race for the 5-lap sprint race 2, which is going to be coming up in just a few moments once we get the grid sorted out. So we're going back into the lobby, going to get, as mentioned, getting that grid sorted out so we can jump into race 2, which is going to be a 5-lap sprint, and it is going to be a reverse grid order here for the second race. So Sweet Crown 19 got the win, but we'll be starting at the back of the grid for race 2, and it's going to be Hartman who's going to be starting on pole here for the second race, as he was the last of the finishing drivers.
Wait, just try and send an invite out to Carter.
Alright, we'll see if we can get Carter back into the lobby as well. It'd be much more fun to have Carter actually in the race rather than just his ghosted car in the race. Of course, we know Carter's shown a lot of pace here in Formula Fridays, and I was really excited to see what he could do here around the Azerbaijan, excuse me, not the Azerbaijan City Circuit, but the Baku City Circuit for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Get ready to have me mess that up about 6 more times here before the weekend is over, as I think I'm just I'm stuck on this Azerbaijan City Circuit line for some silly reason.
Just getting the lineup set, so apologies.
Yeah, quite all
Carter's
right.
saying he has internet problems.
Oh no, it's not what you want to be hearing. Especially for Formula Fridays, especially on a Friday night. Not a good way to start the evening on a Friday night with internet problems, but hopefully...
Especially when you start P2.
Yeah, well, that's even more so with the front row of the grid start. But hopefully you can get those resolved without too much delay, so he can actually get control of his car and get all of that, and get that potential strong finish that we know Carter has in him for that second race. But I can speak from experience when I say that nothing really wants to make me pull my hair out more than internet issues when they do happen.
Oh yeah. Just trying to see who the British driver is, because they're not showing up for me, and I believe that is Mushroom.
Yep, that is Mushroom flying the British flag, and the only driver here with that British flag, so can confirm it is Mushroom, and probably the driver that you were looking for there.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Now going into race 2, I'm excited to see how this is all gonna play out. Are we gonna see? I mean, realistically, we might see rotation run. Well, actually, no, rotation starting from the back of the grid. Right, because of that DNF, so he's going to be starting right alongside his fellow Division 1 driver peers of Sweet Crown 19, Josh 2, Izat Kush, and here around Baku City Circuit, where it is a little bit harder to get those overtakes done and work your way up the grid, I'm excited to see how these drivers are going to, are going to fare in this 5-lap sprint. And I'm curious to see if we're going to have any of these drivers starting at the front, maybe run away with it. I'm looking at Mushroom maybe starting near the front. Azen, who I know has a lot of pace. Knight even, who showed a lot of pace, barring those mistakes. Maybe some of those drivers could start could really run away. And we've got Gernman in here as well. We haven't seen much of Gernman, but here in Formula Fridays to take part, probably going to be starting at the back of the grid as well, since he wasn't there for the first race. But we'll be having a little bit of fun with having this 5-lap sprint, and we'll see where Gernman can come. As I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've seen Gernman race.
Yep. But we are good to go. The front row of the grid is going to be Hartman, Doomsray. Row 2 will be Mushroom, Azen, followed by Knight, Dark, Lewis, and Izzat, and then Josh, Sweetcrown. Our first of the running cars, and then Vapor Rotation, Captain Blade, start from the back. Well, actually, Gurman, now that he's here. So,
yeah.
Just tell these guys they're good to go.
Perfect. So once we get that cue, once we get at least half the grid to hit that ready up button, we will be ready to kick off race 2, the 5-lap sprint, and we're already seeing some drivers getting that Q2 ready up. As we've got Carter back in here, back in the lobby, I believe, needing to pick a car, and hopefully, is he gonna get that second row spot for him for Carter if he's back in the lobby?
Yep, he did get that spot.
Oh, perfect. Just wanted to check and make sure there, but here we go. We've got the countdown timer ticking down to right around 20 seconds now before we load into the race 2 lobby and before we can kick things off. And everybody, I hope you're ready for race 2. I'm excited for it. I know you're excited for it as well. And once this gets started, it's going to be some non-stop action here for this second race, as it's prone to be here for Formula Fridays. And get ready, because we'll be kicking things off in just a few moments.
Listen, odds are someone's race is good. Alright, at least 2 people's races are going to be ruined in turn 1.
Oh, I would not be surprised. I'm going to go a little bit longer. I trust turn 1, but I don't trust turn 2 here around Baku. That's normally, in my experience, turn 2 is where I see a lot of those initial incidents.
Now that I think about it, you're right, yeah.
Right, because I feel like turn 1, everyone's going a little bit cautious because you know that outside wall, but turn 2, that's when you might see people getting on the power early, trying to fight for those overtakes down the first possible overtaking moment, and I think that's maybe where we're going to see some incidents, maybe some 2 wide, 3 wides, even if drivers are really being daring. But here we go.
Guys, put your setups on. You have 20 seconds.
Thank you. Could not have said it better myself. Gotta get those setups on, as Captain Blade was the first to ready up here and really putting the pressure on a lot of these drivers. Now, I'm a little bit worried about whether or not Captain Blade was able to get a setup on in time, because that was a very quick ready up button for for the driver there. But here we go. Up to 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights for race 2. And we're off here at the Baku City Circuit, the 5-lap sprint. And it's going to be Carter who gets a really nice start. I'm seeing some contact here of, I believe that was Mushroom having a bit of contact into turn 1, approaching turn 2, and we're seeing some moves, and that's Hartman who spun facing perpendicular behind him. It looks as though that might have been Captain Blade who had a moment getting caught up with the likes of Josh too, and Dark here stuck in the back as well. And we're seeing a little bit of 3 wide here in the back between these last 2 drivers. Oh, and that looked to be Captain Blade going into the wall, trying to go around the outside of Josh 2, but Josh 2 not having any of that. And here in the middle of the pack, we do have Izat Kush and Lewis going. Oh my goodness, what happened to Lewis? Lewis took a bit of a spin there as we kind of caught half of that on stream. Suicron 19 already up into 4th now as he overtook Azen. So I have no idea how Suicron 19 made up so many positions in the span of half a lap, but he's already up into 4th through all of the chaos and looking to make more ground as this lap goes on. And rotation going around the inside here, already battling with Azen as they're going, they were battling for a little bit, and now I think it's more Azen and Knight who might end up with this battle. But rotation and Sweet Crown showing so much pace here, and oh no, that's Lewis out of the session. Was that, I hope that was a crash out and not a retirement on track. But here, as Carter sets the fastest lap for race 1, we've got a gaggle of cars battling in the midfield, all being led by the likes of what looks to be, I believe that's Mushroom leading the way. I'm riding with Azen here as Izat Kush gets an overtake done. Knight got the overtake done as well. Hartman is out of the race here on lap 1 through the very fast chicane-like section there. Not what he was hoping for here on race 2, as we already have 2 drivers out of the race. So Sunik, your prediction was just about as accurate as it could be, with 2 drivers having the race over by the end of lap 1.
Oh boy, there was Mushroom somehow ended up hitting Sweet Crown going in a straight line. So
oh my,
there was everything happening there. Sweet Crown ultimately got by, but he is rapidly catching up to Doomsray. First is Doomsray, and then I don't know if Carter's got to be absolutely on it and pushing it right now. Please understand that Sweet Crown is right behind in big rotation. So
yeah, but crucially, Carter's doing a good job showing a lot of pace here. He's got that 2-second gap. Now, if he can have Doomsray maybe hold off Sweet Crown for just a little bit longer, he could be in a very solid position. But we'll have to see how long this can last. Is down this back straight, this is where we're going to start seeing a lot of pace. And look at this already if we ride on board. Coming right near that pit entry, does get the overtake done, does Sweet Crown 19 on Doomsray well before turn 1. And now puts on the afterburners and is going to be looking to close up to the car of Carter. But with the pace Carter's shown, I'm not too sure if it's Sweet Crown levels of pace, but if he can hold on and just keep up his race for long enough, he might be able to hold on and do something really exciting here. But we'll have to see how this all plays out, as I think all the cards might need to fall in the right order for Carter here for the for that finish he's hoping for at the end of the race. And maybe
it's not taking that much time out of him. I think.
Oh no!
If he just keeps his head down and just gets the job done, he's got this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. And what could potentially come into play as well is the man on your screen here, if you're watching at home, rotation, and even Izat Kush, as Izat thought about making a move on the exit of that castle section, but that definitely wasn't going to work, and I think he knew it as well as anybody else. But if rotation can get past Doomsray and close up that gap, then that might involve these 2 drivers of Sweet Crown and rotation battling it out as Captain Blade retires out of the session. So it looks to be a crash in the castle section for Captain Blade. So we're down to 3 now here as we're approaching the end of lap 3 and starting the penultimate lap for the second race, as it is still Carter leading the way from Sweet Crown 19, but here we've got Doomsray. Oh my goodness! Izat and rotation getting a double overtake on Doomsray, both at the same time, as Doomsray just looked to his left, looked to his right, and next thing he knew, he had both cars ahead of him. Almost a moment.
That done.
Yeah, and I was about to say, almost a moment for Izat Kush into the wall there. But crucially, able to keep that clean, able to hold on to that P3 now, and rotation down into 4th. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Izat coming back with a vengeance here on race 2, looking, trying to get a bit more of those guaranteed points. Now, I'll be jumping over to that battle, but it looks as though we've got Mushroom putting a lot of pressure on Josh too as well. Josh not really having the second race he was hoping for, if I'm being honest. I think he was maybe hoping to close up a little bit more ground and make... Oh my goodness, that was terrifying with the onboard, as I thought they were going to be running right into rotation, as that is rotation out of the second race here on lap 4. As similar to what we saw in race 1, the castle section proving to be very difficult for rotation, and proving to be a spot that maybe he's going to have to put a little bit of work on if in order to perfect that going into Sunday, or else he might risk similar events. Now, here comes Gernman on Knight. You're going to be trying to make a move here, but Knight holding on to that P5 as much as he can, just barely though, but Gernman is finally able to get that overtake done with the help of DRS, but this might play into Knight's hands if he's able to keep up that pace, as he might be able to get that move done right back at the end of lap 5 when it counts, similar to the strategy I was talking about here on race 1. But crucially, Gernman got some DRS on Doomsray, who's the driver ahead. Now, if I'm looking here at the lead, it's going to be... Sorry?
Remember you said earlier in race 1 about the chess smash?
Yeah.
Just waiting and waiting and waiting. I think that's what Sweet Crown has absolutely set up here.
Yep, I'll be, I couldn't have said it better for myself, as here I was about to say it is still Carter leading the way, but look at this gap between Sweet Crown and Carter, and I think Sweet Crown 19 is going to be waiting for that last possible moment to get the overtake done, and due to lack of a better term, try to snipe that win from oh no, but actually gets it done a little bit earlier, because the mistake from Carter, maybe feeling the pressure of Sweet Crown lurking behind, does force him into the wall, and but crucially no wing damage taken on that Formula 1 car. But it is going to be the move done very undramatically on Carter. But here comes Carter with DRS. And is this chess match going to be done? No, just not enough time as he crosses the line in second. And you can see the potential frustration from Carter, as I think he might have thought he had that in the bag. But here comes the rest of the drivers, but crossing the line. But still a strong showing from Carter on race 2. Was able to get those connection issues resolved and getting a nice podium out of it here on Formula Fridays. Although I'm sure he was really hoping to have the win after leading for 4 3/4 of a lap. But there we go. That was race 2. We're going to get a view of the podium. A familiar face on the podium is that Michael Schumacher of Sweet Crown 19, lifting the trophy, popping the champagne once again. Didn't drink enough after race 1, so has to have a little bit more on race 2. But Carter up there on the podium as well, and probably definitely happy with that P2. And that's a lot. That's more solid points for Carter here in the Formula Fridays Driver Championship. And Izat Kush rounding out that podium as well.
Yeah, Vapor rotation 2 times showed the pace, and then the castle section bit him.
Yep, and I mean that's the way it works here at Azerbaijan. Like we said, it's a bit of it's you against the walls, and unfortunately for rotation, the walls won this time around. But I'm sure he's going to be putting in some work so that he can come back in the Tier 1 race when it matters the most and put in a strong showing. But here for Formula Fridays, it is Sweet Crown 19 who takes the victory of race 2, Carter in second, Izat Kush in third, Josh 2 in fourth, Knight rounding out the top 5 with Doomsray in 6th, Gernman in 7th, Mushroom in 8th, Azen in 9th, and Dark rounding out the top 10 with rotation, Captain Blade, Hartman, and Lewis all DNFing out of the race, but taking positions 11th through 14th, respectively. But there we go. What what a solid showing that was from these drivers. And as I expected here with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, no shortage of excitement. And as we predicted, for a lot of these drivers, it was the war against the walls here. But it made for exciting races nonetheless. And Sunik, any final words before we wrap up the stream here for Formula Fridays?
No, that was everything we expected from Baku, especially race 2. Just saw a little bit of impatience at the beginning that cost a couple drivers, and obviously this track, it's already technical enough, but when you have 5 laps to just get as much as you can out of a race, it's gonna get tight, and we saw that today. So everybody can hold their breath, but we'll be back Sunday for another one.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly it. It was an exciting race to see, exactly what we were expecting, as you said, Asunik. But this has got me excited as ever for what we can expect to see Sunday. And make sure to tune in then, because we will have Division 3 racing at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Division 2 racing at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and Division 1 taking their turn at 3 p.m. Eastern Time around the Baku City Circuit. And if Formula Fridays and even Division 4 that we saw on Wednesday are any indication of what we can expect, it's going to be a good one, so you're not going to want to miss it at all. But for us here, for Formula Fridays, that'll just about do it. And on behalf of Asunik, I've been Fallen Monkeys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you all next time.